Coming to you Monday around 4 o'clock. Coming off of the Niners 38 to 13, I think it was at the end of it, win against the Chicago Bears. Sage, honestly, it just felt weird seeing the Niners kick ass so hard in the first half and really had the game won by the end of the first half. That was the best I've seen them play. It was needed, man. It was needed because this was basically the season if they lost this game, and they showed up. So I'll give them the credit.
Yeah, no, you had to get a win. That was first and foremost. You had to get a win. Not only did you get the win, it was stress-free. First stress-free win of the season. Didn't really have to worry. I mean, once they went up 14-0 it was, there's no worries. It was never close. The Bears never threatened. You look at some of the past games against, the Seahawks the first time, the Patriots. Score maybe didn't show how close the game actually was. This one, it clear as day. I mean, from start to finish, Niners dominated. Everyone kind of ate. Everyone contributed. It was just a good team win. Something we've been begging for. Something we wanted to see all season. Only took them 14, 15 weeks, but we got it. So you take one when you can get it.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is that, I mean, the Niners started off right away, first drive. Just go down the field. George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Isaac Rendo, all had great first halves. They cap it off with a Jennings touchdown. And I think they punted once in between, but the Bears couldn't get anything moving. I think at the end of the first half, they had about 4 yards. We could talk about that later if that's more of a Bears just struggling on offense or if the Niners defense and Nick Sorensen actually just schemed up like the best game plan of the year. I'm not really leaning that way. But, yeah, I think the Niners punted once and scored 3 touchdowns in a row, got it to 21-0. Bears with another 3 and out. Then they made it 24-0 heading in a half, and it was really over at that point, Sage. I mean, I wish I could give you guys some more interesting analysis, but the Niners, whatever Kyle Shanahan had schemed up, worked. And, yeah, I think the conversation of this, entire talk on this game is going to be whether or not the Bears just played one of the worst games we've seen all year, or if the Niners actually deserve credit and they show that they're a playoff team in the NFC.
Chase, you could say that it was over 14-0. It was over the minute the Bears fired Eberflus and they had the Niners on the schedule. I mean, so uninspired, so undisciplined.
It was like the negative interim coach bump.
Yeah, we said it. We literally said it. We said sometimes it goes the opposite way. We said it with the Jets and saw the only good part about the Jets was their defense, and it's just gone so backwards. The only good part about the Bears was their defense. That was the worst defense I've seen in the NFL this season, damn near. They were so fucking bad. I mean,
and this was a good defense coming into this game. This was a good
might be worse. But, yeah, they were good. That's the thing is they were good. We talked about it. We were like, the Bears have been playing well. They played the Packers close. They played the Vikings close. They played the Lions close. What the fuck was that yesterday? That was insane.
Number one red zone defense. I think we were 5 of 6 this entire game in the red zone. We just scored a touchdown every single time we got around there.
Yeah, I don't recall our score predictions, but we both thought it would be close. I mean, we both thought losing was a possibility, but as soon as the Niners went, that first drive, it was so easy. Brock didn't have to do anything too crazy. I mean, so much yak. Kyle just scheming it up. I mean, just genius. Anyone who wanted to trade him, now shut the fuck up, right? You see it. You see what he could do when he's on his game. That was beautiful by Kyle. He was aggressive, challenging, going for it on 4th down. I mean, it was a weaker opponent, a wounded dog that he just attacked, but I respect it. You know what I mean? I respect it. Put your balls on the table. No one has sympathy for you in the NFL. You should have no sympathy for anyone else. So I respect it. I mean, the Niners had to have it, and they did it in spectacular fashion.
Sage, let's be honest. This is not going to slow down the anti-Kyle brigade. This win against the Bears is not going to do anything. All this is doing is making Bears fans who heard these rumors just be like, oh my God, please get this guy on our team immediately. If these rumors are true, we'll take it right now, because this did not even really look like a competitive, they legit did not look like an NFL team on Sunday, the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, you're like, give me Kyle Shanahan, whatever he's doing with this offense, get Caleb Williams set up for the future. I mean,
Other than the Jags, they might be the worst coach team in the league. And they might be worse than the Jags. I mean, it is bad, man. That team hates each other. They don't play for one another. They have no leadership. They have no head coach. They have no stability. And when you come against like a team like the Niners that have that, they have that culture, they have like some stability at the top, they could just expose you. They game plan, they schemed them up. The Bears looked like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. You could tell there was no game plan, no thought going into that game. It's like they didn't even prepare. It's like they didn't know what the Niners were going to do. The Niners have been doing the same thing all year. They changed it up a bit to attack the Bears. Bears' worst team against the screens. Niners attacked it. Niners exposed it. Got some playmakers in space, and they went after him. But, man, the Bears had no answer for the Niners all game.
The Bears had no answers, and especially on offense with the Bears, it's not like the Niners were doing anything different. Like, whatever you saw on the tape of like, okay, how are we going to attack the Niners here? They rush 4, they drop 7 back into coverage. I will say that when it comes to the Niners defense, I thought that Hufanga was a big addition. I mean, you could see it. Sage, you could see it. I mean, whatever the hell Jair Brown's been doing all year, throwing in a guy like Hufanga in there just really made it. I mean, he was solid in the run game. I don't think he even got tested in coverage, which shows that there's a difference because Jair was just getting tested almost every single play when he was in there. He was a big addition, but this defense schematically really didn't do anything different. I didn't see a lot of blitzes, but the 4 that they rushed were able to get to Caleb Williams all day. I mean, this is the Caleb conversation that we've been having all year, right? Is this on Caleb? Is this on O-line? Who knows? Is it maybe even the 49ers defensive line that just had a great day? Yeah, so it's really hard to say if this is something moving forward that's going to be different or a sign that something's going to be different or if the Bears really just didn't show up to play today.
We could have the Caleb talk. I mean, my God, like you look at his stat line, it looks fine, but dude, he played terribly. Like I don't care.
Do you want the halftime stat lines between him and Brock?
Yeah, I mean, you could give it to, but like, dude, just eye test. Like, you don't even have to show me the stats. Like, he is so, dude. Okay, there were some sacks. Like, there was that one Gross Mato sack where he put the left tackle in Caleb Williams' back within 2 seconds and just grabbed them both and dragged them both down. And you see stuff like that, you're like, oh man, Caleb has no help. But you look at it, 11 pressures for the Niners, 7 sacks. Like, that's bad by Caleb. Like, basically, any time they get in your face, they're taking you down, brother. Chase, like we've mentioned before, it's like. You're doing too much, dude. Like, you got to just get rid of it. Throw it away. Like, you don't want to put it in harm's way. Throw it out of bounds. It doesn't hurt. Like, I've never seen a more indecisive quarterback. He doesn't trust what he sees. It's a little bit of coaching. Like, with these rookies, they come into the league. You got to have some stability. Tell them, take the check down. He was trying to take the check down. It wasn't there. So he just ate it, and he was getting sacked all day. It was pretty, I don't know. It was a pretty big confidence boost for the Niners to see them get home, but at the same time, like you look at who they're doing it against, the guy's been sacked more than anyone in the league, and more times than not, it's because of him now.
I mean, I've been telling you about the tape that I've been watching all year.
You've been in the tape. You have been in the tape.
Look at the difference in how Brock Purdy moves around the pocket when he feels pressure compared to Caleb. I mean, Caleb, it's either he doesn't feel it, or if there's pressure coming, he doesn't see where it's coming from, or if there's a way to get out of the pressure, he doesn't see it, and he just falls like a sack of potatoes. So, yeah, they got 7 sacks, so the D-line did their job. I mean, they did put pressure on him, but Caleb really didn't give them any difficulties in having to really chase him around or, like, set the edge really to make sure
they
that
kept him in the pocket
didn't move out of the pocket. So, I mean, the Niners defense played well all day. Deondre Lenore was great. I think Mooney Ward is starting to play a little bit better. He made a couple good plays. D. Winters was flying around. Even Devondre Campbell. Yeah, even Devondre Campbell had a couple good tackles. So nothing really negative I could say about the Niners defense. I think a lot of the people who are always suspect about the Niners, especially Kyle Shanahan with leads, maybe got a little bit scared there when it got 20. I think it was 24-6, and the Bears were driving down. But then once again, they pressure Caleb Williams. Force him into, I don't know, did they call that a backwards pass?
It was a backwards pass fumble.
It was a backwards pass fumble. So, yeah, and then right away, Brock Purdy just hits Juwan Jennings on a 40-yard catch. They eventually score a touchdown to make it 31-6. So, just an ass-kicking all over the place for the 49ers. Sage, let's shout out a couple people. I mean, for me, I thought the player of the game was George Kittle. I mean, I don't think I've seen George Kittle move around like that in about 2 years. He was great in the run game, but he really shined in the pass game. I mean, he was taking screens, 30 yards, just blowing through guys. I think every single catch that he had, so he had 6 catches for 150 yards. Every catch he had, I think, was for at least 20 yards or at least a first down. So George Kittle, for me, man, he's been great all year, but in a game where we really needed it, and I think we're going to get into his post-game press conference a little bit, just knew that he had to show up today, and he did, man. He did that and some.
Yeah, 100%. 151 yards, 103 of them were yak. So 103 yards after catch for Kittle. Niners had 158 yards after catch the whole game. 103 of them came from Kittle. I mean, it just shows you a lot of it. Kyle got him in space. Those crossing routes, those check downs, the screens. He schemed them open. But Kittle, man, he has speed. He has that strength. He just gets into the open field, and he's impossible to bring down. I mean, he almost scored on that one. I think it was in the second or third quarter. He slid. It was one of the coolest looking slides I've seen. Just slid right, like past the pylon. He dominated this game. Niners had to have it. They went to him or Jennings. Some people on the team, Deebo Samuel, are complaining that they don't get the ball enough. There's a reason.
We'll get into those guys. Yeah, we'll get into those guys.
Juwan and Kittle deserve to be your top two dogs. I mean, Chase, I was thinking about it, man. Like, Kittle, in your eyes, he's solidified himself as the third greatest tight end of your life, right? Behind Gronk and Kelsey.
So I don't know if you were watching football back then, but I think Tony Gonzalez was up there for me. So Gronk, Kelsey, Tony Gonzalez, but yeah, man, it's really hard after those two guys, especially the past 10, 15 years, to put anybody else there except for Kittle, especially because whatever they did in the pass game, Kittle's close to them, and he definitely is better than them when it comes to blocking and being a tight end in the run game.
I don't know about Gronk.
Gronk was great, but I think Kittle is the top when it comes to tight ends blocking.
Yeah, they're very similar with like very similar style of play too, just reckless, always there, safety blanket. But it makes you wonder, man. Like last week against Buffalo, like this guy got 2 targets. I know he dropped one, but you got to feature him. Like he has to be the main focal point of your offense every week if he's healthy. Chase, coming into this season, right? Like who would you say were people viewing as the Niners' 3 most important players on the offense?
I mean, you would have to say Christian McCaffrey. Would I include Brock Purdy or no?
I would. So I was just gonna say Trent Williams.
Are you saying like weapons?
No, just on the offense, right?
Okay.
Trent,
yeah, it'd have to be Trent.
And probably Ayuk would probably be the third coming into the year, I'm saying. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Ayuk had about 1,300 yards last year, was definitely the number one target. I think Kittle played well, but yeah, I would probably give you the nod, give Ayuk the nod over Kittle preseason.
And you don't have any of those 3 guys today, and you have a guy like Kittle, older player, but he could step up and do this like when you need it. It just shows you like how deep this team is, and like you can say what you want, like it was the Bears, this and that. The Niners were missing guys. They still put up 38 with ease. They could have put up 50 if they needed to on that Bears defense that came out on Sunday. They dominated that game. I'm gonna shout out, going back to shout outs. I mean, I don't want to I don't know if this is a cop out. I want to shout out that whole O line. Like literally, I want like Burford, what's his name? The left tackle.
Ben Barch for the first couple drives.
And then Moore,
Jalen Moore.
in. We didn't really hear much about him. I mean, like they played well. They stepped in.
Sage, that's good. Sage, if we didn't hear Jalen Moore's name once on Sunday, that was going to be a good thing, and that's what happened.
Other than that, there was that one drive that was a little choppy. It was the second drive of the game where Brock almost threw the pick where Juwan kind of tipped it down. He had two plays right around the 50, just batted balls. But other than that, like they kept him upright. I think he only got sacked once or twice, and they gave him time all day. I mean, without Trent Williams, we've been complaining about this O-line, and we wanted to see what it would look like. Last week, it wasn't that good, but this week, you held your own against a decent, I'm not going to say a good, but a decent Bears front 4 that's been getting pressure on quarterbacks. I mean, what are you measuring against? Did they kind of give up? You can't really answer that, but what the Niners put out there, like you got to just go off that. And it was impressive. I mean, do I trust those guys in a Super Bowl against a team with a good front 4? No, I don't.
Against Chris Jones on third and goal. Yeah.
But for what they gave me on Sunday, I'll live with it. And you got to give them their flowers. Shout out to them. You did your job. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of just like connecting to that, Sage, Isaac Guerendo, because it was a little bit complimentary, right? I mean, I'm going to give you your time to celebrate your win there because you've been calling for it for a while. But the O-line was great in the run game as well. Got holes for Guerendo, even tailored towards the end of the game. But I will say, Sage, that Garendo did pop a little bit. He did have some holes to run through, but he used his speed to his advantage, and he broke off some big plays. So go ahead, take the victory lap. I know a couple weeks ago, I mean, Sage just tried to make it a viral TikTok clip, kind of
Please
shitting on
check out
me
our
about
TikTok.
it. Yeah, shout out our TikTok. Go like that, comment. The guy who has assless chaps, that's apparently me. But yeah, Garendo did good, Sage. You've been calling for him. You said that if you get him into space, he's a guy who could hit some big plays, and he did that. I mean, he did that right off the jump and was doing it until, I mean, we're going to bring this up. And of course, we had this conversation with the fucking Niners, but until he got injured. But Sage, he had a great day today.
That's what I was saying. So Chase was kind of like giving me some shit because I said this on Sunday where I said, I like him as your second back, not your first back, because it was kind of funny on that first drive. You see the first play of the game that he gets, right? So the first play of the game, it's a pass out to Juwan, and then they try running it to Garendo. Just runs right into his own lineman, gain of nothing. Yeah. And it's just like, you're like, oh, Jesus, like we're in for a long day. Second play, motion him out, get him on a linebacker, slant over the middle, just burst it. I think it was like 27 yards or something. That's like what you got to do with this guy. He's a playmaker. He's dynamic. He's not really a between the tackles, bell cow. You saw it, he got hurt. Maybe, he's not built to be that, but man, you get this guy out in space. He is dangerous. He had 2 great catches. That other catch he had on the sideline, he got down at like the 1 or 2. Just totally burned the safety. Made a pretty impressive catch. I mean, Brock kind of overthrew it a bit. He had a dive.
Yeah.
You get this guy out there, man. Like, your offense has been lacking it. And it's funny because his best run of the game, I said, I can't have him as that lead back, but you get him in a 2 running back set. You get some motion, some misdirection, let him, break a tackle. He's going to get there. I think he got a 27-yard run doing it. That's what I want to see. Put him on the field. Do you know who I didn't see this game that much? Kyle Juszczyk. Do you know who I don't want to see on the field that much? Kyle Juszczyk. This was perfect. You let playmakers get on the field, even if it is Deebo, because I still think in his current state, in his old man, in his Celtics, Shaq, Klay Thompson, Mavericks, Kevin Garnett, Nets, stage, Deebo Samuel, I'd still rather have him out there than Kyle Juszczyk. I think he could at least get ahead of steam and maybe get 5 or 6 yards if you're lucky. But it was good to see Garendo get some run. It was good to see Kyle use him in the pass game. And the way Kyle used him, man, it was like so like complimentary to like what his skill set is. It wasn't just the Mason tape. It wasn't just the Christian McCaffrey game plan. He got him out there. He motioned him out, got him involved in the pass game. You never knew where he was going to line up. And the way they got him the ball, it was really good. And you kind of just saw it like in Kyle's game plan from the start. They try to use him around. They wanted nothing to do with Patrick Taylor Jr. That guy sucks. What do you think about him?
He's not great. No, he's not great.
Good.
I mean, I was not that impressed with what I saw at the end of the game, for sure.
That's what I was kind of saying on Sunday's show. I was like, maybe we see Israel Abonaconda because it's the.
But then he was out. He was inactive, right?
Yeah, they picked.
Was that injury related or what?
No, I just don't think he knows the scheme. I guess they were saying like Kyle's scheme takes a few days to learn, so they just trusted the guy who knew. But I think this Thursday maybe you see Abonaconda. We'll see if Garendo could go, of course. But I was impressed. I mean, I was impressed with him as a passer. In the run game, honestly, I wasn't that impressed. Chase, you kind of said it. He kind of can't run like between the tackles well. He doesn't really know what to do. It's a little alarming.
But this is what I'll say, Sage. This is what I'll say. So all the people's points earlier in the year when Christian McCaffrey was out and we were running Jordan Mason, what was the big issue with that offense? You really didn't have a pass catching back in there because we love Jordan Mason in between the tackles, but let's be frank, Sage. He can't really catch a ball out of the backfield, but with what you saw from Garendo today, that kind of proved that he could be a guy who's going to be able to do that. So, like you brought up, though, he has a foot sprain, so we'll see if he's even going to be ready for Thursday against the Rams, but
he said he's fine today. He said it was precautionary.
Fuck, Sage. That's a killer. That's a killer if he can't go on Thursday.
Oh, my God, of course. You have to have him. I mean, this is like the biggest game of the season coming up, and, of course, it's a short turnaround. He hurts himself Sunday. He said today he was fine. He said it was precautionary, but you never know. He's getting an MRI, I think it is, this afternoon.
That's what's crazy about me and watching NFL guys. Like, they get injured on Sunday. They play Thursday like 3 days later, and it's like, yeah, we'll see. Well, he's going to get an MRI today. It's like, okay, like if I fucking broke my foot, if there was like a question on if I broke my foot or not, I'd be like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking hurting like shit. Like, there's no way I'm playing in 3 days. Like, even if the MRI comes up like clean, like I felt like I almost had a fucking broken foot. Like, they're just warriors, man. They're really warriors.
They're great.
Apparently, I will say, I heard he wasn't walking around with a boot. So that's a good sign. Usually if they're walking with a boot, that means no way they're ready to go in 3 days. But he wasn't, so it's looking like he's going to be a game time decision. And Sage, anything else before we kind of head off to the next topic here?
Chase, I have a question for you.
Yeah, let me hear it.
49ers win this game if they have CMC instead of Garendo?
So this is tough, and I mean I knew this was going to be the fucking question that you asked me. Yeah, Sage, they do. I like Garendo. I'm happy that we drafted him as a rookie running back and that he showed that he could play a little bit. I still have questions on whether or not he could be a running back in this scheme, but I'm just happy that we saw that, he's good pass catcher out of the backfield, and if you get him to space, he can make something happen. But yeah, if Christian McCaffrey was here, I think the same result happens, and he probably plays even a little bit better than Garendo. I mean, some of the good runs that Garendo had, Sage, let's just be honest, those were big holes that he was running through.
They got him schemed up. Yeah, no, I agree, but just saying, 1-3 this year when McCaffrey played, and then 5-4 without him. You can say it's the opponent, you could say it's situational, whatever. But
I'm gonna say it's the opponent. This guy
was the MVP of the Niners last year. Just keep that in mind. Keep that.
Okay, no. Let's continue this, Sage, because I've been hearing this, and I kind of want to. No, I just want to hear the other side's opinion, right? I want to hear the anti-McCaffrey 49er fan opinion. So, what are you saying exactly? Are you saying that he sucks? Are you saying
no?
Or is it like a situation where you think he just isn't ready?
I think the Niners rushed him back.
It's starting to get fucking disrespectful. You guys are starting to act like Christian McCaffrey
I'm not
is
saying
like
he's
not like a top 20 running back. I swear to God, it's getting fucking rude at this point. It's getting fucking rude.
Chase, take the good with the bad. This is all I'm saying. All I'm saying
I'm
is
getting roasted on TikTok now for having a pro McCaffrey take. What the fuck is going on here?
I'm just saying that
I was like the best player in the NFL last year.
This is what Kyle lacks and that I want him to build on. Because you even saw it Sunday is, brother, use a fucking rotation. Use a committee. Like, keep your guys fresh. Like, you're just destroying them. Like, you're just, like, bruising them down. Like, McCaffrey comes back. It's like Mason can't see the field. Garendo can't see the field. McCaffrey's gone. Oh, my God. Mason looks so good. Boom, boom, boom. Now he's hurt. Garendo. Let's just run him to the ground. Now he's hurt. Okay.
This is something I wanted to see, too. So, from your side of the Niners fanhood, are people saying that he ran Garendo into the ground and that's why he got injured again? Is Kyle getting blamed for Garendo getting injured?
I mean, bro, when you're up 24-3, like, maybe let the guy who no one gives a shit about run between the tackles a bit. Like, come on, dude. You don't have to run him every fucking play. Like, he's never been. So, he wasn't the starting running back at Louisville in college, right? He only started once because everyone else was hurt. He's always been a complimentary back, like a third down back, because he's a speedster. Probably can't run between tackles too well. I'll say that a million times, but you got to, I guess, just know your personnel. Like, know when to use everyone. The thing that's just, like, I guess, to his own fault about McCaffrey, like, you don't see this with, like, a guy like Derrick Henry because he's not really a third down back, right? Like, so they always take him off the field on third down, kind of keeps him fresh, extend his career. McCaffrey could do everything. I mean, he might be the second best route runner on the Niners. Like, his route tree is as deep as it comes for a running back. He has great hands. So there's never a situation where you look and you're like, yeah, we're better with McCaffrey off the field here. Like 2-minute drill, you're better with McCaffrey. Like everything, you're better with McCaffrey. It's not like the Ravens. Ravens 2-minute drill, they throw Justice Hill out there. You throw like a speedster, some guy who could catch it out of the backfield. There's never a situation like that where when you have a fully healthy Christian McCaffrey, he's the Swiss Army knife. He is the system. So I think to Kyle's like fault there, he sees that he's like, why would I ever take him off? But it's the NFL. Like, it's real life. These are human beings. It's not Madden. You can't just turn injuries off. Like, shit happens. You got to give this guy some rest. Like, even if he's saying, I got to play every down, like, fuck that, bro. Preserve him. He's 27. Like, people act like he's 30. Like, people act like he's this old man, like he's Bo Nix. He's not. He's still young. Like, let him run, but also get some other guys in there. And you see it every week, like, whoever this Niners starting running back is. Like, spread it out a little. That's all we're asking. We're not saying McCaffrey's a bum.
All I'll say is, so I was going up against Chuba Hubbard in fantasy. Guy gets 30.
Good. Bro, that guy's good.
30. Guy gets 30 carries a fucking game, and he never gets injured. So, I mean, I get it. I get why some people are mad at Kyle. I think last year, there was definitely a lot more for people to look at when it was like McCaffrey. We were up 30 points, and then he's running him his 26th carry in the fourth quarter. It's like, all right, Kyle, like, calm the fuck down. But this year, I mean, yeah, I think that McCaffrey was going to start coming back, but I still think it was a little bit disrespectful what people were saying about McCaffrey. But, hey, that's a topic we don't have to worry about right now. Sage, we talked a little bit about Shanahan. He schemed it up. I mean, he came to play today. I think that was the best play calling game that Kyle Shanahan had the entire year. Did you see how many people were just wide ass open? It wasn't even like Brock Purdy was hitting tight windows. Like, these people were just fucking wide. I mean, George Kittle wide. Juwan Jennings beats the guy off the line, has 15 yards of space. So whatever Kyle saw in the pregame with his Bears defense, he schemed the fuck out of them because, like we brought up, this wasn't a bottom five defense, and they looked like by far the worst defense in the NFL on Sunday. So you even to the people who are giving Kyle shit, saying, okay, we're here, we're 6-7 now because of Kyle, you do have to give him credit. He had the offense humming on Sunday, and the game was over because of how well Kyle Shanahan had that offense going.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he put Brock under center a lot. He brought back the screen pass, like more and more, getting it to Kittle, those tunnel screens to Deebo, although they don't work as well as they used to.
Except the Deebo plays.
Yeah.
None of those fucking worked.
I mean, it's just like it's a relic now. Like the Deebo Samuel run is a relic that should be like just basically banned, extinct in the NFL. It just doesn't work. Other than that, though, like he's just in his bag, Chase. It's the Brokeback Mountain. He just doesn't know what it is about Deebo. He just can't quit him. He can't quit him, bro. It's like,
are we gonna keep on doing this the rest of the year? I thought, okay, I made a joke about it the second time. Now you bring it up yourself on the third time. Are we gonna do this? Is this the kind of podcast that we want to be remembered as? I mean, you brought up Philadelphia. I know, but you've brought up your two movie references are Philadelphia with Tom Hanks, where the guy's dying of AIDS, and Brokeback Mountain. I mean, if we want to go down that route, Sage, you know what? I trust you.
I've actually never seen either movie. I just know the quotes.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Believe me. Okay, but going back to it. 34 runs for the game, 25 passes. You were leading the whole game. This is kind of what we've been asking for, man. Like, run the ball when you're up. Wear down that defense. Stick to it. They had an identity, right? The Niners found their identity. It only took 14 weeks. The quick passes, right? What did I not see on Sunday? Brock Purdy running around the pocket, scrambling, because these plays were meant for him to get the ball out quick. It was kind of like the Jimmy Garoppolo plays, right? Get it out to your playmakers. You saw a lot of yak like you used to, what you weren't seeing the first 6-7 weeks of the season. I just loved it. I loved everything I saw from Kyle. Like I said, putting Brock under center more. I think they ran the tush push a few times, which I wasn't really too happy with. I mean, when you have a quarterback like
I will say this, Kyle Shanahan in like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations has zero creativity.
Awful.
If you're an NFL team preparing for the 49ers, if you see a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1, it's going to Brock Purdy every single time.
It's
no hesitation.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's not like he's a big guy. It's not like he's Jalen Hurts. Like, I mean, I don't want to be the guy getting all fucking scared about little injuries. I mean, I know it's football. Shit's going to happen. It's a physical game. But throwing, like, 6-foot Brock Purdy on QB sneaks, like, at least 4 or 5 times a game, kind of wild. It's kind of wild that you don't have any more creativity to get other runs set up to get, like, a couple inches. You know what I mean?
No, I 100% agree. I mean, what about just running it with Juszczyk or just someone big? Like, you see some teams running.
Well, we already saw what happened in Buffalo, Sage. I mean, fuck. Yeah, the dude was on the 1-yard line and fumbled it when we needed it the most.
I guess, yeah, maybe he was doghouse from that because we didn't really see him at all on Sunday. But I don't know. I was still, really impressed with Kyle. Like you said, everyone could say, oh, my God, Brock Purdy did this, Brock Purdy did that. There's that stat about, like, his passer rating plus 2 touchdown games. It's just like him and Mahomes. And I think it was Damon Bruce said, so the argument is, like, through 3 years of his career, he's as good as Mahomes. It's like, okay, slow down a little bit. Like, guys were wide open. Like, there's a lot of yak involved. There's a lot of, like, good things that happen from the playmakers. But Brock was impressive. But I think Kyle was more impressive. I think yesterday was more about Kyle than it was Brock.
Going off of what you said, Sage, so I was literally going to get right into this. To the pro-Brock brigade, who are just like, see, this is why you got to sign this guy. This is why you need to extend him no matter what. First half stats, Sage, 16 of 18. 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Should have had a rushing touchdown if it wasn't for
Pearsall.
I forgot who was holding. Yeah, Ricky Pearsall. We're going to get into him.
He made his impact on the game.
Yeah, he made his impact somehow. That was the most impactful play that he's had all year, basically. But if you look at those stats, Sage, you're like, wow, Brock Purdy just had the game of his life, led the team, was the reason that the 49ers went up 24-0. Like we brought up, I don't think there was one completion that he had where the guy wasn't open by 5 yards on each side of him. This was a Kyle game. This was a game where it was the classic Kyle Shanahan schemed it up to where the run was working. The play action was just working effectively, complementary with that run game. And he was getting the wide receivers like Jawan Jennings, George Kittle out in space. Also, I will say this. If you're the Chicago Bears defense coordinator, I don't know who it is at this point. He's got to go. He's got to fucking go.
Yeah,
because
the whole regime has to go.
I saw the way that teams have been guarding this Niners team the entire year. And now you lose Christian McCaffrey and you lose Jordan Mason, and suddenly all these people get open. Like, I don't think Kyle had that good of a game. I think whatever the fuck the Bears were playing in coming into this game was comically awful. I mean, they were giving all these wide receivers space off the line where the entire year we've heard that they can't break man-to-man coverage. So why would you not just get up in their face, try to stop that zone run game? So I don't know. I don't know what their thoughts were there, but it did not work. Kyle schemed it up, and it was an ass-kicking all day. But, all right, Sage. I've had enough positive talk. Let's talk about, and there was just some news that came out about him.
Can I say one thing real quick? Real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead before we
I'll
dive
stay on
into
the theme is negative
shit.
real quick. I'll stay on the
okay.
theme is negative. I also want to talk about Purdy. I really don't think he played that good of a game. Is that like a crazy hot take? Like every time he tried to throw it into a tight window, it felt like he could have thrown like 3 or 4 interceptions that game. Like he was testing his waters, and anytime it was like someone wasn't wide open, like he had 2 guys, he had Garendo open, I think he had Juszczyk open, just underthrew them like grossly. A few times like had guys like he had Pearsall overthrew him. The one time I think I've ever seen Brock Purdy overthrow someone. It just seemed like if it wasn't wide open, like he wasn't hitting the pass. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a critic here, but
so this is what I'll say, Sage.
It's hard for me to say he was the better quarterback on Sunday.
Okay, well I know you're kidding there.
I'm kidding.
But I'd say that you're nearing Skip Bayless with LeBron territory if you're saying that Brock had a bad game.
No. I'm just saying it wasn't as great as people are saying.
No, I mean I don't think it was a great game, but I
like
mean
the
stats,
passer rating, the yards, like we have Lombardi saying. Other than Josh Allen, Brock Purdy was the best quarterback on Sunday. Like I'm just like,
no,
Jesus, like,
and I mean that's
here.
Yeah, so that's what we have to start realizing with Brock, that these numbers really don't match the other production that we see from these other quarterbacks. Like look at Mahomes' stats from Sunday, right? They put up 19 points, but if you look at what Mahomes is doing, what his offensive line is giving him in regards to protection and who he has running routes for him, the fact that he was able to do some of that shit on Sunday is way more impactful than whatever Brock is bringing to his team when these guys are just 5 yards wide open downfield the entire game. So, yeah, we need to get away from these conversations with Brock and looking at the stats. We got to use the eye test with Brock because there's going to be some times where shit opens up.
In a contract year, too, you have to.
It's wide open, and he's just going to hit. He's going to hit the guy. I mean, it's pretty similar to what we're seeing in Minnesota with Sam Darnold. I mean, look at the numbers that Sam Darnold's putting up. Do we think that he's anywhere near Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen? I mean, Sam Darnold had 5 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions yesterday. No, he's not anywhere near that. So with these quarterbacks, sometimes you got to look away from the stats and really compare the situations of each quarterback and give it the eye test, because just looking at the numbers is fucking stupid. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Chase, get the Facebook camera ready. You ready for this? I will say this.
Let me hear it.
Watching the last 2 games, right? Conditions, I'm throwing stats out the window. Conditions and eye test. I think the gap between Purdy and Josh Allen from 2 weeks ago compared to the gap between Caleb and Purdy is much bigger. Like there's a much bigger gap between Purdy and Josh from last Sunday than there was between Caleb and Brock this Sunday. Like I just think like you see it in different conditions and everything, and you look at this Sunday like I don't know, like I'm a Niners fan, obviously. Like I want to love this guy, I want to have his back, but I'm just trying to sell myself because there's 2 storylines this season, right? There's 2 huge storylines. It's the Niners, their success, and then should we pay Brock? Because it's massive, and I want to be in that camp. But every week, like I'm watching 2 separate games, right? I'm watching Purdy and I'm watching the Niners, and I don't know. I'm still not buying it. Like I think they should extend him, but I'm just not totally sold on him. So I just wanted to throw that out there because everyone has now dug their feet. We're paying Purdy. He's the guy. Like let's slow down a bit. Like what we saw by the Bears, that's not a serious team. You do it again Thursday, maybe we could have a different conversation.
So I mean, Sage, with that comparison, Josh Allen looked like Jesus Christ in shoulder pads. Fucking yesterday. So I think that's hard when you're comparing Josh Allen to everybody because I think he's like, I compliment Mahomes, right? Love Tom Brady. I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback doing what that guy's doing in Buffalo right now. He's crazy.
Dude, I love that
He's
guy,
crazy.
man.
I mean,
That
game
Sunday
yesterday was
crazy.
insane.
Dude, that was Matt. Dude, the most fantasy points by a quarterback in history. Literally the most ever. It's insane.
It had to be, right? I mean, he was 330 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and what was it, 90 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns?
Yeah, just absolutely put the team on his back. But I don't know. I don't want to poo poo the Niners. Kyle
No,
Shanahan.
we're not going to poo-poo it.
Comes out yesterday, kills the trade rumors, just shits all over you. Who is it? Florio. There's
Mike
talks,
Florio was the one who brought it up the first time.
Just puts that to rest. Talks today. Purdy Niners. They're gonna settle on an extension. The vibes are high. Niners fans taking their victory lap. I miss the times where we take our victory lap when we won our 12th game, when we go into Philly, beat them by 20. But beating the Bears with the way the season's going, like, it's not so bad. So we could take our victory lap now, but there's still a lot more to prove.
There's still a lot more to prove. I mean, when you look at it, Sage, what you saw in that Seattle Cardinals game was almost as impactful as what happened. So Seattle
Sadly,
Seattle has a pretty tight grip on the division now. You're really going to need them to fuck up the last 4 games. They're at 8-5, so they're about 2 games ahead of the 49ers, right? If we just look at where they're at right now.
I don't know how the tiebreaker is going to work out, but so we're 6-7. I think just one. They're 7-6, or are they 8-5?
No, so they're 8-5 right now.
Okay.
So basically, it seems like the Cardinals are damn near eliminated. So they're down 3 games essentially to Seattle.
How fucking pitiful are the Cardinals? My God, dude. They look
we're
gonna
get into them. I mean, they were one of my best bets, and they just fucked it up. Kyler fucked it up. I'll never trust that guy again. I don't know how I fall into this trap with Kyler Murray every single fucking year, man. Where it's like you show me like 5 good games, and it's like, you know what? He's so talented. Like, I'm gonna believe in this guy. I'm gonna lay the 2.5. It's like, of course, in the biggest game of the year, he fucks up 2 interceptions right away. But yeah, so it seems like the Cardinals are done. I mean, we just brought up that Buffalo Rams game. So the Rams got a big win. They're going to be 7-6. We're obviously playing them on Thursday, so that's going to really determine who has a chance moving forward, the Niners or the Rams. But yeah, Seattle kind of got a tight grip on the division. So even if the Niners do win out, you're going to need Seattle to drop a couple games. So that's not really a position you want to be in if you're the Niners, for sure.
Thankfully, their schedule's tough, though, man. I mean, they got Packers, Vikings, Bears, who we just saw, and then Rams, at Rams. So
the tough part, though, Sage, is that they got Vikings and Packers at home. So
yeah, those 12.
If you would have had those be road games, that would be really tough. But
yeah, you know how those 12s are. But
we're not saying that it's over. We're not saying that it's over.
No.
I mean, there's we've seen Geno Smith before. I don't trust the Seattle team too much. So if you're asking me, can they lose 2 of these next 4 games? Fuck yeah, they could lose 3. I don't.
Yeah.
The Seattle team isn't legit. If they make the playoffs, they're not going to do anything. They're not sniffing a Super Bowl or anything.
God. If they make,
it's just kind of how it lined up that they're 8-5 right now. They had a 4th place schedule, I think, from last year, so they maybe had a little bit of an easier run than the 49ers did at it. But we're just saying that you need to gain some ground on Seattle. You got to do your part. You got to win the next 4 games if you're the Niners, but you also need to rely on them to drop a couple as well.
I'm going to so they play the Vikings, who would be the 5 seed right now. They play them in 2 weeks. So I just want to look at the look-ahead lines, just to hypothetically say if the Seahawks were the 4 seed and the Vikings were the 5 seed, who would be favored? I'd assume it's the Vikings, but okay, look-ahead lines for Week 16 aren't out.
That's tough. That's tough because I think Seattle's going to get love.
In the playoffs, maybe, you're saying?
Oh, you're saying in the playoffs, or you're saying 2 weeks from now?
Well, 2 weeks, but that would be say Seattle wins the division. That would be the playoff matchup in the division.
Well, would it? Card. I mean, you got to think maybe right now that's going to maybe go to Tampa Bay or the Falcons, that 4th seed.
Oh, true.
And Seattle could potentially be the 6th seed, and then you see a matchup with Green Bay.
Packers, so they get the.
But
Packers.
like we said, I mean, fuck Sage. We've said this every episode. We don't know how that NFC North's going to play out. There's still so much more to be said over the last 4 weeks of the year.
Yeah, Green Bay would be -3 if they were to match up. So we'll see. I mean, obviously that matchup will dictate how the line goes in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And then so just a little bit of a look ahead. So we're gonna definitely dive into a deeper. Well, we're gonna do a deep dive of that Rams game on Thursday Night Football. the Niners only get a couple days to rest up, but we're going to have, just a little. We know this team a lot, but we're going to give you the pregame analysis updates since the last time that we played the Rams. I think it was about week 3, but Sage, let's do the negative conversation now. The Niners kicked ass on Sunday, 138-13, so there were a lot of positives, but especially coming into today, there were some negatives. So, like we brought up, Deebo Samuel did not look effective on Sunday. They tried a couple screen passes with him. That didn't work. Ran him out of the backfield. That didn't work. You look at the stats after the game, you're like, oh, Deebo, he had an okay game. He had 2 garbage time, I think 15-yard catches that made the stat line look a little bit better. But when everything else was humming, Deebo Samuel wasn't really working that well. After the game with the media, I don't have these quotes on me, but same thing. One-word answers just did not look happy at all. 2-word answers just – it wasn't like he was on Kay Adams from last year. We'll just say that. He wasn't giving good Kay Adams-level interviews or what we've seen on Cleats and Convo. But, yeah, he was a little bit bitchy with the media, to be honest, and came in today. He had Twitter, Sage, so I think you got it pulled up. So why don't you read off what Deebo's been saying on Twitter today?
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. So
because
he fires off 2
It's
tweets.
concerning, man. It's concerning that this is where his head's at after a big win like that to save the season.
So he fires off 2 tweets. So this was about an hour and a half ago. He says, "Not struggling at all, just not getting the ball." Shrug emoji. Comments, light him up. Comments, I don't want to read these because I don't want these. It sounds
as
like
they should.
But go
As
read
they
the
should light
comments.
'em up.
Go read the comments. And it's not like it's just football fans who are going to be brutal to any athlete that's on their team. It's Niner fans. It's a bunch of Purdy profile pictures like Niner fans. And then 30 minutes later, tweets, "Now just because I voiced my opinions means I'm hating on any of my teammates. Be for real." Bro, you need a fucking reality check. Someone like I don't care who it is. Someone needs to sit this guy down. Maybe it's Tabor Pepper. Don't check him. Like, do something, dude. Like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? I just can't understand it. Like, the production's not there. On the year, you're what? 40 catches, 550 yards, 1 touchdown. As a running back, you're the worst in the league. You're the worst running back I think I've ever seen now. And it's just
I've not seen one Deebo Samuel run work all year.
And it's hilarious. It's like he's complaining that he doesn't get the ball enough. But it's like, dude, you're a terrible route runner. You have no quickness, no burst off the line of scrimmage. For how impossible it is to get you the ball in the pass game, the Niners are doing everything they can to get you the ball. They try and run it to you. They have you in special teams now, and you're still not making an impact. So, if anything, they need to give it to you less. Like, they need to put you, like, on a shelf and basically use you once or twice a game for you to be impactful. Because it's like any time you're in the backfield, it's a run for, like, 2 or 3 yards. He's averaging 2.6 yards per carry. Chase, guess how many yards per carry he averaged today or on Sunday? 2.6 yards. So, you're doing exactly yesterday what you did all year. And the team's winning in spite of you, despite of you. You're the second highest paid offensive player on this team. Third, actually, because of Trent. But you're the second highest paid receiver on this team. And you're probably the 5th or 6th most valuable weapon on this team now. His fall off is crazy. What people thought was going to happen to Kittle 2-3 years ago has happened to Deebo. It has gone so backwards so fast for this guy. And now, like, you're a locker room cancer. You're coming out, all this bullshit in the media, these short answers you take to Twitter. You're punching your teammates, yelling at them on the sideline when you haven't done shit all year, dude. I don't think there's no doubt in my mind that he will be the first guy off the team this offseason because you just can't keep him anymore. John Lynch, Parag, whoever that does the salary, establishes the roster, they got to sit Kyle down. Bro, like, we can't afford him. There's a lot of business we want to be in. The Deebo Samuel business is not what we want to be in.
So, Sage, just to clarify the second tweet, what did he say? He said, "Now that I'm just talking, y'all think I'm taking shots at my teammates?"
He said, "Just because I voice my opinions means I'm hating on my teammates. Come on, be for real."
Okay, so this
saying
is my
you're not
thing
getting the
with
ball. Like, come on.
This is my thing with all wide receivers who bitch and complain about not getting the ball. It's like, if you're bitching about not getting the ball, you're clearly calling out somebody else because the only person who could get you the ball is the quarterback. The only person who could call plays for you to get the ball is the coordinator. So if you're saying it's not me, it's just the fact that I'm not getting the ball, that means that you have to be taking a shot at your quarterback or your play caller. So that's the one thing. And yeah, like you brought up, Sage, they've been trying their best to get Deebo Samuel involved, almost to a point where it's affected what they could do on offense. It stalled out a lot of drives. They've never gotten positive plays out of Deebo. Rarely this year, especially on those screens or in the run game. And then, yeah, it's just the stuff in the locker room, like you brought up, the fact that he's going to his podcast now all the time, like not really focusing on what he's doing on the field. The Tabor Pepper situation, attacking guys like the fucking long snapper and the kicker when you haven't had that same production. And now you're against the media. You're not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, fuck, man, that's their jobs. They're not looking for Shakespeare level fucking answers from you. They're just like trying to see what's going on with the game. You're giving them nothing. And in all honesty, the Niners media has never taken shots at Deebo Samuel. The Niner fans have never taken shots at Deebo Samuel. We've loved him ever since he's been here. And we're just calling out the fact that he's not been the same guy this year, which is clear. I mean, here, David Lombardi, you'd be thinking, oh, it's maybe just a bad 10-week stretch for Deebo.
Saying he hasn't lost his
Something's
step.
clearly off. Something's clearly off. I mean, he can't get any separation on his routes. He can't hit holes in the run game like he used to. He just can't get anything going. So the fact that you have this now on top of it
seems like defensive.
Very bad, man. And the thing that pisses me off the most is that this should be all-time vibes heading into Thursday. This should not be something that's brought up because now the players are going to get asked about it. The next time that Brock takes the stand at the for the media, he's going to be asked about it. Kyle Shanahan's going to be asked about it. So now with the season of distractions that you had all year, the Ayuk, the Trent contract negotiations, McCaffrey being injured, nobody knowing what's going on, all the late game leads that you've blown. There's been so many fucking distractions around this team. And now you get to the point where you had your best win of the season, you kept the year alive, and you just need to win the last 4 games to give yourself a really good shot to make it to the playoffs, and you give your team another distraction when they've been picking you up all year when you haven't given them shit. What a joke. And Sage, you said that he's going to be the first guy off the fucking team next year. Did you see the report coming out from Matt Mayoko?
No, which one are you referring to?
So Matt Mayoko says that there's no sign that Deebo Samuel is not going to be on the 49ers in 2025. It seems like
Chase,
that
the
Deebo
Warriors,
Samuel is going to be on the 49ers next year.
The Warriors, the day before they traded Jordan Poole, said he's a Warrior for life. It's just
that's
business.
true. So
it's just business, bro. They don't want to fuck up the locker room as it stands because what if they can't get rid of him? If they could get rid of him tomorrow, they would. They just can't. They're not going to cut him. But if there was a trade out there to get rid of him now, they would. Kyle's not stupid. I know he's Kyle's boy, but it ain't personal. It's just business. Chase, I think people just figured him out. Like DBs know. Like
I'm not saying that it's the wrong decision. I'm just saying that
I don't buy.
You got media reports saying that it's not going to happen.
I don't buy that shit 1 ounce. Fuck no. They'd get rid of him. No way, bro. It's gone backwards. Chase, since 2021, right? 2021 year he got paid. He had 1,400 yards receiving, and he had 300 yards rushing. Since then, 600 yards, 800 yards, 500 yards, 200 yards rushing, 200 yards rushing. This year, 92 yards rushing, 2.9 a carry. Years before, 6.1 yards per carry, 5.5 yards per carry, 6.2 yards per carry. It's gone backwards. He's not the same guy. DBs, they know how to play him. They just press him on the line of scrimmage because he has no quickness. He has no route running. He's not going to destroy you like with his route tree because he only has a quick slant up the middle and just hopes like you get a busted coverage. Even his one receiving touchdown this year, the one against Seattle, it was because the DB fell asleep and he just ran free for like 60 yards. That's it for him. That's it for him. He's washed. And the first step of a washed athlete is always denial. You see it with like a
you
guy
saw it
like,
with Klay Thompson, right? You saw it with Klay Thompson. The fact that he couldn't accept that you lost a step, that you can't be that same guy. You can't be the starting, small forward guard for the Warriors. You're gonna need to be in that 6-man role.
It really is like Klay. It reminds me of Klay.
If you want to be a part of a winning team. And it seems like Deebo's falling right into that. You're right.
I was going to say, it reminds me of like Carmelo. Like literally it reminds me of Carmelo where like he just thinks he's still the guy for like so long. And it's like, dude, like it's always denial with the first year, 2 years. Like you could still be impactful in this league. Like look at Cordero Patterson, like guys like that. Like, but you're like
not on Sunday. Not on Sunday. I don't know if you saw what happened, Sage. He kind of fucked you, Cordero Patterson. We'll get into that.
A 10% snap share and maybe 2 to 3 yards or 2 to 3 carries / touches a week. And I think that's all you're good for. But your contract, you might, for how little Brock Purdy is for how much Brock Purdy is underpaid, you are that much overpaid at this point in your career. It's just sad because I love Deebo.
Sage, the thing is too, it's not like he tore his ACL last year. It's not like he's coming off of an Achilles injury.
He's like Zion, bro. He just can't get in shape. He's fat.
Like we brought up with Clay and even with McCaffrey earlier this year, that's leading to the fact that they can't get the same production. With Deebo Samuel, it's like clearly he's lost a step over the past 10 months since we last saw him. I mean, at the end of that playoff run against Kansas City, you could see that he may have lost a step, couldn't get separation off guys like Trent McDuffie, but it's just gotten way worse. And it's not, you can't even point to an injury. I mean, what is he, about 28, 29?
I have no, he's not 30. He's definitely around there.
He hasn't even gotten over that 30-year-old mark. No significant injuries.
He'll be 29 in January. He changed his number and just became washed.
And looks like a completely different player. So not only that, and now you're affecting the locker room as well. It's the personal side of things that is making you a detriment to the 49ers team. So through all the positives, I thought that coming into Monday, the one negative that I had was Deebo Samuel with how he played and the fact that he couldn't even get it going in a game where everybody was eating. And then you could see that frustration come in the locker room, and it went on Twitter to everybody and to the public now. So now it's a big story. Not happy about that. Anything you want to bring up, Sadra? I think we're at about the 50-minute mark, so we kind of have to cut it in a little bit.
I know. The most impact he had on Sunday was just being a decoy for that Guerrero run. That's it. I mean, it's crazy the Niners are this successful with no Ayuk, with no CMC, no Trent Williams, and basically no Deebo Samuel. I'm excited to see. I basically know how Kyle's going to come at it. He's going to say, like, what he has to say is he'll be like, well, Deebo's a competitor. He's going to want the ball, and that's how Deebo is. And we're going to try and scheme him the ball, but everyone eats. We have playmakers on this team. So we'll see what Purdy says. We'll see what Chaney says. But as far as Deebo Samuel, I'm good to get out of the Deebo Samuel business as soon as tomorrow. As soon as a minute ago.
I don't think you're the only one there, Sage. So, yeah, we're going to hear what Shanahan has to say about what Deebo said. But, Sage, I think we're going to come to them, about Wednesday with some 49ers-Rams pregame stuff? What do you think?
We'll get into it. I think maybe we'll sprinkle some stuff throughout the week. There's a lot to cover. I mean, this is probably...
Well, I mean, it's only Thursday. I mean, we're at Monday right now. I think we're probably not going to come out with anything tomorrow. So I'd say, if anything, we're going to come out with something on Wednesday, giving you a little bit of a preview of that Rams-49ers game on Thursday Night Football. Sage, it's almost easier now talking about the situations with the 49ers because they have to win this game. If they lose this game on Thursday, whatever hopes you had, whatever fucking percentages you're looking at with their chance to make the playoffs, it's over. It hits 0 on Thursday if you lose that game. So, yeah, we're going to see what chance the Niners have. The Rams are coming off of a big win against Buffalo, so the Niners need to get a win, and we'll be coming on Wednesday with a little more information. Sadra, anything else to give to the people?
That's it for me.
All right. So now we're going to dive into a round